welcome back to the Business and Banter Podcast, where we talk a lot about business, a little bit of banter, and maybe some BS, but most importantly, we try to add value to your day. If it's your first time watching, my name is Hanley. I'm a car part reseller from Scotland, and my esteemed business banter buddy is Sam from Australia.
And I'm a clothing seller on the eBay platform.
I forgot to think of a quirky name for you this week, but I'll get back to it. I forgot
That's okay.
about that. So the first 6 months of the year is finished. We're halfway through. How did it go? How are you feeling? I'm feeling amped, by the way. I am highly motivated.
Of course you are. I was feeling really good and really optimistic until you said a thing to me yesterday, and then I threw all my toys out of the cart and I had a full tantrum, and now I'm back.
But highly motivated, though. Use it, feel it.
Oh, yes. When I wanted to stop today, I just saw that message again.
So, while this week, I know a lot of people have been sharing like their first half of the year figures and their motivations and their goals and their tracks, and I love seeing it. But there's also been some very quirky, shall we call them conspiracy theories? Absolutely. About maybe why we haven't reached some goals, or maybe why things aren't going as well, especially regarding the eBay platform. So this week, we've got Perry and O'Neill investigate the eBay conspiracy theories. Grab your tinfoil hats and let's go.
I think we missed the opportunity to wear some tinfoil hats.
Oh, I should have made one. But so I've got a couple from Instagram. I've also got, and you very kindly dived yourself into the swamp that is Reddit.
I did.
I've also been on Reddit.
Oh, it's an interesting place. I haven't included all of them because some of them I didn't understand, which I don't know if that says more about me or them. And I also went on the eBay community forum, and that was also an experience.
I've not heard good things about Reddit. I've not heard great things. I've heard that it's not a very pleasant place, and like I already do school pickup and drop off, so I feel like I have enough unpleasant places in my life every day.
Fair.
So
you have enough people.
My personal favorite, and this one is the one that I probably hear about the most, right? Is eBay has a secret switch that switches you on and off, and eBay decides when you can make money and when you cannot. Like there is a man, I picture him, right, as a man. Mm-hmm. Or it might actually be a woman if it's that volatile, isn't it? But so let's just go with a man. Well, I'm speaking for myself. Let's just go. There's a man who has a switch, and then he randomly on a Tuesday decides, you've had enough. You don't get to make any more money, and eBay switches you off. What are we saying? Yay or nay?
Look, I say yay if you've had some sort of defect on your account. So when I get like a negative feedback or something like that, there is a very short-term dip where it's like, oh, we don't know if we can trust you selling in this category anymore. And then like within 24 hours, it upticks back to normal.
See, I don't have that. I've had before where if I've had like 1 or 2 iNads opened against me on the same day, then I'll see a slight dip in sales. But I can always point it to something. Like I can always point it to, I've had the iNads. I've had some defects. Like there's always a reason. I've never ever, and also I just want to put it out there, buyer behavior is a reason.
Of course, absolutely.
Like randomly on Christmas Day, I sold almost nothing. That's not eBay saying no Christmas presents for you. There is such a thing as buyer behavior as well. So I think a lot of the times it's more maybe our account health, and also maybe just buyers who aren't there. And if we truly believe that eBay has that much control over our businesses, that's a very negative place to be. Imagine going through business every single day thinking there's someone with a magic switch that can just switch you off.
Imagine the fear and the anxiety that you must have associated with that.
That's what I'm thinking.
if there's a cause and effect, like I believe that there is, like when you have the negative feedback or an iron ad, it's a short term cause and effect. But I
Yes.
just don't think on a random Tuesday that eBay is like, no.
No. But also, my graph is very, very steady. Like, really, it's almost to the point where it's quite level. I'll have random spikes and a little bit of a low, but it's very consistent, right?
Yeah.
I know my weekly payouts are pretty much bang on almost every week. And that's because I've been doing the same thing for so long. Like, I've been listing 35 for so long that,
Yeah.
like, that's just how it is now.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, if that was true, and then how come it's not happening to those who are consistently just doing the same thing?
That's one of the other conspiracy theories that came up, was about consistency and how you don't need to be consistent.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, I personally think you need to be consistent in everything. And it will tie into one of the other conspiracy theories on my list. But do you think that the biggest conspiracy of them all is that you do not need to be consistent? It's more about the product.
Do you know what gets me? It's like it's the entitlement of thinking that we don't have to be consistent, but eBay is going to give us consistent results. That really just like once I got that into my head, like once I realized that like if you want consistent results, you have to give consistent effort,
Totally.
then it just all becomes so almost basic to run an eBay business.
It is
Like
actually.
if I consistently list stuff people want to buy, I'm going to consistently sell the stuff to the people who want to buy it.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to, don't get me wrong, listing every single day without fail is a personal choice you make in your business. And I made that choice because now I get those consistent payouts and I get like I like the financial consistency I get from giving consistent effort, right? Can you miss a few days here or there? Yes. Is your whole business gonna tank? Definitely not. But we can't be working like 2 days a month and then be upset that we're not getting.
I will say that there's one caveat to this, in my opinion, that if you're just listing complete garbage to fill the number, it's the equivalent of just not listing at all because no one wants to buy it. So you won't get the sale happening anyway.
But then this leads into another conspiracy theory that I was actually speaking to with my group chat. So the other day I was on the eBay Pro Trader program. I don't know if you know what that is, where they like
I don't, but I can
okay.
fill in
So
a blank.
I think in the UK and they've just rolled it out in the US, they put you on a Pro Trader program where eBay basically teaches you how to use a platform to give them more money. And it's like they try to sell you all the promotions, but they also do tell you different things. Like for instance, they said to me that stagnant listings is anything over 90 days are hidden on the platform, right?
Yeah.
So then the theory comes in that you have to sell similar everything older than 90 days because it's hidden. Now, I have two problems with that. Number one, I sold many things that's been listed for longer than 90 days. Like every single day, I sell stuff listed for long. So I have a 7-month sell-through rate. So
That blows that
how
up.
is that possible? But then I think the caveat to that is, and we figured this out in the group chat, is I had about 9 months ago listed a bunch of Mazda parts, right? They were selling well at the time and then they stopped selling. So I just kind of assumed those aren't as desirable, they'll take time. Then a couple of weeks ago, I got some more Mazda parts in the first time. When I started listing the new Mazda parts, the older Mazda parts started selling. So I think, yes. So this is, and Jess actually put this on my Insta when I was asking for conspiracy theories. Listing every day means you list in all the categories, which means it keeps your categories active on eBay.
I think it goes deeper than that though. So I will list shirts, jeans, dresses, etc. all in one day. Doesn't matter the day. But if I will list a brand today that I haven't listed in like 6 months, I won't be selling the ones that are currently in stock, but I will sell the one that I've just listed and then 2 old ones that had no attention for like 9 months. And it's just really, it's like a cause and effect. I list the brand, I sell the brand, I stop selling the brand.
Yes.
It's really interesting.
It's the same with me and the Mazda stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff wasn't moving. I started listing new Mazda stuff. The new Mazda stuff started selling, but then also the older Mazda stuff started selling.
I 100% subscribe to that.
100%. I am so behind that theory. Like, so behind it.
All right,
so are we going yay or nay on consistency? Because I'm going yay.
Oh, 100% yay. Okay. Sorry, I thought we covered that. All right, would you like me to go next?
Yes.
Okay, would you like one that I agree with or one that's just out there?
Oh, just out there.
Okay, so this is one of my favorites. I may have shared this with you ahead of time, but so this person started the thread in Reddit was eBay money laundering. I know. So they believe that people selling empty boxes for iPhone cases, like iPhone empty boxes, iPad empty boxes, or empty boxes for old Nintendo games, PlayStation games, etc., is actually fake listings and it's just money laundering. I've actually sold empty boxes in the past. They are actually desirable. So I found a Nintendo DS Pokemon. It was just the case, and someone bought that for like $80, and that was the most ridiculous sale I've ever made. But people wanted to be able to actually make their collection complete.
I have a question about this. Like, I would really like to know how successful that person's business is if they're spending this much time in other people's listings. Like, who has time for that? I myself have seen on Instagram people selling empty boxes, and I also have my friend Jess who sells a lot of like Tiffany bags for a lot of money. So I mean, is there probably someone maybe trying to do something dodgy somewhere? Yes, but I think as a whole there is just a market for it.
And I think it's collectors or people like maybe if you refurbish an iPhone, it's worth more money if you can ship it in the $10 box that you've purchased on eBay or something like that. So I think that there's legitimate reasons. The comment section was very interesting on that thread. One person suggested that they should learn the actual definition of money laundering. Reddit's an interesting place.
Okay, my next favorite one is eBay hides your listings out of some kind of spite.
What sort of spite are we talking about?
eBay just randomly decides they don't like you and then they hide all your listings. And I guess this goes hand in hand. Maybe that's a switch they flip. They don't switch a flip. They don't switch a flip. They don't flip a switch. They don't switch a flip. And they just like make all your listings disappear.
I don't subscribe to that one. I would like to think that eBay's not a petty bitch, though.
I mean, that's a conspiracy theory I could maybe get behind, but
there's someone that's up in the upper echelons that's like, I'm going to target Hanley today.
I do believe
today, if you're listening, target Hanley.
No, I do believe. Don't try to recruit enemies here. I believe, honestly, that accounts with less activity is less visible than accounts with a lot of activity. So I believe if I'm listing every single day, I'm doing my customer service, I'm sending my coupons, I'm sending my newsletters, I'm sending out offers, I'm communicating with buyers, I'm answering quickly, I'm posting every day, that my account and listings naturally gets more visibility than someone who maybe only lists once a week, who ships out once every 5 days, so I do believe that eBay gives preference to accounts with more activities because they want to direct buyers to the best experience.
Yes, and I think that the reason why they do this is associated with, I think it was tech that used the analogy that if you were at a supermarket and you were waiting at the checkout for someone to come serve you and you had like a question associated with a product like you do on eBay, would you wait 6 hours for someone to get back to you? No, you're going to go shop somewhere else, whether you're getting the attention straight away, whether that's not on eBay or if it's with a different seller on the platform. So, of course, that person would rank higher.
I 100% agree with that. So I think sometimes we can also control our visibility as well. So I'm going to go nay.
Yeah, nay, absolutely. And it ties in perfectly with the holiday mode destroys
Oh,
sales. Now,
yes.
I can talk about this one firsthand because I just had to put my store into time away mode. It was not planned. I was going away on the business trip and I was meant to have someone fulfill the shipping component 50 minutes before the flight took off. That didn't happen. So I put the store in time away mode. So I have screenshots actually. So my store went into time away mode just here, but
Uh-huh.
relatively everything's remained level.
Yes.
So even the quantity sold, which is down here, remained mostly level.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that that's a debunked. But I did still do everything that was the same as when I was in town at home. The only thing that was different was I couldn't fulfill the shipping component. So I was still listing every day, still woke up eBay every day. I still responded to everything, still sent offers, etc. So I think that's why I kept it level.
But it comes back to activity. And also, I just want to backtrack a little because when Sam told the story about how she just happened to 50 minutes before the time that didn't happen, and then, like, she's so calm and she's being said that's not how it went. That's not how it went.
That's
I woke up in the
not
morning to, like, fuming, angry messages. She was raging. She missed her flight.
I did. It was a very
Right,
expensive
because
trade.
I think because you had to go sort out the shipping and stuff because the
Yeah.
person, like, she was raging. So for
So,
all her calm and gentle nature on here, she's not the same in the Insta DMs.
oh, God. It's situational dependent. Um, I did miss the flight, so I had to race to the storage units, pick the parcels, then ram everything into the suitcase, print the labels. I planned to ship them down south with everything in my suitcase, but we got there 2 minutes after baggage drop closed, so they wouldn't let us drop our bags, which had all of the stuff that we had to ship in there, so we couldn't actually not drop the bags. 2 minutes.
I do believe that there is going to be a bit of a natural decline because you're not posting out regularly and people have to wait longer.
Yeah.
But I also think that ties back in with the activity. If you're on time away mode and you're still doing customer service and offers, I take it you were still doing all your newsletters and stuff,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
still listing every day, then
Yeah,
again, that activity on your account for eBay is going to keep you in the mix of things compared to someone who just turns it off and, like, closes our freight. And I don't understand how you can do that because even when you get returns and stuff while you're on holiday, it still has to be dealt with.
of course it does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just carried my laptop around when I was down south in a backpack. And if a return came through, because I don't use the eBay return labels, because I live places that most of the options for eBay return labels don't deliver to, so they use a hubbed courier service, which we don't have here. Yeah, so it becomes complicated. So I issue my own labels. So I just carried that around and everything went smoothly. It was only the last day that people started to be like, hey, where's my parcel? I was like, you bought this 10 days ago and only now are you inquiring as to why I haven't shipped it?
Yeah.
It's very understanding.
Yeah. So my next one, which is very controversial in the UK, all
Oh, yeah.
right? YouTubers get more sales because they talk good about the platforms they sell on. So eBay, if you are like an eBay YouTuber
Mm.
and eBay knows you're doing eBay positive stuff, then eBay pushes you out more. Because then if you get good sales, you keep making good videos and it's good advertising for the platform, I guess. And this is from the used book guy who does also, they have a podcast, a really great podcast called the Reseller Mindset Podcast. So go watch that as well. I was on there a couple of weeks ago and they just have some really good chat in there. But I actually, when he said this, the first, when I read it, I was like, no way. And then afterwards, I thought, that would be some really clever marketing from eBay, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, it's free marketing for them.
Exactly.
Mm. I guess I can kind of put some weight behind that because of the fact that, yes, it does provide them a level of free advertising, etc. But it doesn't mean that, and this is no shade to anyone in particular, it doesn't mean because you're a good YouTuber that it translates to being a good eBay seller as well. So I guess that they would still have to look at your selling history before making those decisions.
It's kind of hard to like approve or debunk this one because neither one of us are YouTubers. So like,
apart from this is going live on YouTube.
I know, no, but I mean, like, we're not making like. Well, that's true, but no, we don't have like. But I could see how it's very beneficial for eBay to have someone who's influential in the community, who is eBay positive, have a good eBay experience to keep that going, because especially for sellers, that's great marketing for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, of course.
do I think there's a crack staff of eBay people who do the social media who go, oh, this person makes great eBay content? Maybe. I could get behind that switch.
There is an eBay social media team.
No, I know. But they they don't just answer messages. They may be scouring the YouTube for people as well, you know?
They are. So then they will contact you to see if you want to be on like their back end, like so that they can contact you if there was ever anything in your town or anything like that.
And then also, funny enough, a couple of weeks ago, eBay and YouTube hosted an event in the UK. A joint venture, an eBay YouTube event. So they did. I wasn't invited. I'm not a YouTuber.
Well, I don't think we had actually started the channel when that happened. So,
I don't think we are YouTubers though. I mean, this is on YouTube, but I don't consider myself
a YouTuber.
I don't think you're a real reseller YouTuber until you do a pick and pack with me.
That's reasonable.
I think like you have to tick that box of like pick and pack. And I personally love pick and pack videos. It's like my favorite thing to watch ever. Because watching what other people sell and how they pack it, mostly how they pack it. I have a thing with how people pack stuff. Like I could sit for hours and watch someone pack parcels. And then my best friend in South Africa, and I'm going off topic, but I'm just running with my thoughts here. My best friend in South Africa, she messages me all the time and like, why does your parcels look like body parts? And I'm like, lady, it doesn't have to be good. It just needs to be done. Do you think car part people care about tissue paper and nice things? They don't care. Give me my aircon pipe and let me move on with my life. They don't give a crap what it looks like. So I don't like a lot. Like she messages, she's like, body parts. What is that? Your husband in there? I know. But what I was trying to say is, you can't be a YouTuber if you don't show us your pick and pack. And specifically, turn the camera so I can see how you pack stuff, because that's like my thing.
It's really interesting to me that you're like, that's your thing, and then you're like, I don't care how mine look.
I know, but I struggle with people who don't use enough tape.
Yeah, yours are loaded with tape.
I use like 3-4 rolls of tape a day. Like, why are we scarce on the tape? Tape is cheap. Let's tape that baby out. And then you get people who like one string of tape on, and I'm like, the anxiety that's like hanging by a thread. Don't do it.
I'll never forget you and the hot glue gun and the dashboard story. I love that story. It still makes me laugh.
That was early days. Early days.
All right, it's my turn.
Oh, your turn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6?
3.
3. All right. So this is a pricing conspiracy on eBay.
Ooh.
And this one I actually agree with, just to preface. That there are people in certain subcategories like vintage T-shirts or rare cards, etc., that would essentially do shill bidding, and that they will create all these fake sales so that it looks like the recent sale price of those items is much higher than the actual true market value. Do you ever just like look at a sold and you're like, oh, this sold for like $1,000 more than any other sold? Yeah.
That is very true. I've seen that so many times where things are like random high. And actually, I thought that was money laundering. There you go. There's my money laundering hot take. But then also, that leads into another one of like people who do collectible auctions will get other people to bid it up.
Yes. Yeah. Or you have, so we had something in Australia, those bluey which is a cartoon TV show,
Yes.
Gnomes from Bunnings, which is our like hardware store, people were getting salty that they were getting outbid past their like budget, so they just bid up to these astronomical numbers, and they
Yes.
obviously weren't paid for, but they were just
Yeah.
salty that they were missing out.
Yeah. I can get behind that. I also just want to mention for clarification that shell bidding is against eBay terms of policies. It's also illegal in the UK.
Yes.
So don't do that. But I 100% believe that's going on the platform. I think eBay is very good at catching it though. Like I know people who've been banned for shell bidding.
Oh, really?
I don't know dodgy people before, like I just know of these people. But what they were doing is they got some rare items, and it's actually they work in an auction house, and they were getting the other people in the auction house to put it on no reserve because they didn't want to pay the fees, which is ridiculous because the fee's like 75p. And then the other people would go and bid it up to the minimum they want, and then they'd leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. It used to be really common back in the old eBay days. I feel like they are a little bit more ahead of it now, but there are bots and stuff that you can use now, which makes it a lot more complicated.
There is always this random one sold though, isn't there? That's like all the other solds are like 100, 200, and then boom, 8,000.
Yes.
It is always, and that's so random.
Yeah.
I can neither deny or confirm the validity of that conspiracy. I guess time will tell.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one. I like that one. I don't really know where this one is going, so I'm just going to throw it out there because I'm a bit like, but I think it could say most of my views or impressions are just from other sellers comping. And I guess this leads, guess this leads into the fact that an item will have a lot of views but not sell. Where in my mind, that's probably because there's a listing or a pricing issue. But I guess, like I find my listings on eBay all the time. Like people steal my photos and everything all the time. And eBay's added the majority of my listings to the eBay catalog. So now eBay actually wants car part sellers to sell off my listings, which is so annoying. But it's their information. But how much of our views and impressions do you think comes from other sellers comping stuff?
I guess that's hard because like the views that you're seeing on your listing is someone opening the listing rather than just scrolling past. It's not an impression, it's a view. And I know when I'm comping something, I'm not actually usually entering the listing. So I guess that just depends on how the person as an individual goes about how they do their comping. I would suggest that there are quite a few of my views come from people comping or people just checking out my store in general, especially since I went from being a kind of like reserved person in the community to doing this with yourself. But I haven't seen any crazy like spikes or anything like that.
So this is something that Sam is a big believer of. And it's got to do with a eBay view conspiracy. So if a lot of people look at your listing or your shop and they don't buy it, eBay thinks there's something wrong with it and they'll stop promoting it.
Well, they don't stop promoting it, but they suppress the listing. Yeah, I believe that for sure. You don't think so?
I think even if it does happen, the minimal impact it has cannot even be charted.
That's interesting. I guess because, and this is an assumption, I've never gone looking in car parts, that your parts that you're listing are less flooded in terms of the availability of the part on the platform.
Yes.
Whereas there might be literally in some cases 3,000 of the item that I'm selling.
That is true. So is the belief that like if I have, but then this comes back to like being a YouTuber. So if you're a YouTuber and you put your store out there, tons of people go look at your store, don't they?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then does that mean then that your store is going to perform less? Because you get a lot of views, but you don't make as many sales as, yes?
Well, we could have the people tell us in the comment section their thoughts. I'm of the belief that if someone enters your listing and bounces, and then someone else enters your listing and bounces, that eBay after a while starts to believe that there is something wrong with that listing, whether it's you've got it listed as blue but it's actually green, or you've got it listed as a small but it's actually an extra large, and obviously there's something wrong, and eBay's paying millions of dollars for that listing to get in front of someone, and if it's not converting and there's literally 100 others, then they'll give it to someone else.
I think eBay isn't as smart as we think it is, and I don't think eBay's thought of half of the things we've thought about. I think eBay,
That's a good point.
if they ever watch this, they're going to go like, we've literally never had that conversation. Because I think on the ground, us being in it every single day is different than just them sitting at the computer checking like algorithms. Do I think that if a ton of people look at your listing and leave, don't watch it, don't nothing, eBay's going to go, something's off here? Yes.
Yeah.
But in a general, I don't see how that makes such a big difference to where it will affect sales.
I guess if you have a store large enough, it wouldn't. Because you'd have enough other listings to be able to pad it out.
I'm just going to let you ride this one out because you're holding on to this for dear life.
I will. So let's go with let's go with one that I guess I can see has some legs behind it. So you know when eBay provides you on the Seller Hub that little promotion that's like the listings that you do between now and the 15th of July, you will receive 50% off the final value fee. You know those little promotions that they do?
Where do I find these promotions? Because in the UK, they're only on private accounts.
Oh,
business accounts get no fee deals.
Okay, so that's a thing in Australia.
That's rude.
I guess it's a thing in the US as well because it's popped up over there, which is listings that are listed during the promo perform worse than listings listed in periods outside of the promo. So this person's philosophy is that they listed all their really high-end expensive stuff during the promo because they get a 50% reduction on their final value fees. And then when the promo ended, the items hadn't sold, they auto-renewed, so then they were no longer part of the promo, and then I think it was 6 of the 10 sold. That was their evidence.
I'm 50-50 on this one because I can see how that's a clever strategy by eBay to get people to list a bunch of expensive stuff on their platform. But on the other hand, financially doesn't make such big of a difference that eBay will wait them. I don't know. But I
seen any evidence either way.
But logic says maybe.
Yeah. I can see that there'd be some like legs behind that one. All right, how many more you got? I got 5 more.
Wait, I'm not finished with that one. I want to talk about another one that I'm experiencing myself. So I am going, once in my life before, I was in the very high item not as described category and I got charged extra fees by eBay. And I'm on track to be there next month again because we're having issues in the car park category. And it's not just me, it's a bunch of car park sellers. So where people are like opening a wrong item received return, but then you message them and they're like, no, I got the one I bought, but it's the wrong item for my car. Right? So it's frustrating, but it's a wording issue and no one's really at fault because the buyers just, do you know what? But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the details. But when I was in the higher rate being charged the extra fees, I think that was my best month ever on eBay. Because eBay can make more money off of me.
Of course, yeah. That's
and then everyone's like, oh, if you get in the very high, they tank your sales. If you go below standard, they tank your sales 100% because you're doing bad customer service, right? But I have a theory that and I want to check it. If I go into it again, because I've obviously appealed some of the defects and they're being reviewed, but if I do go into it next month, it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
If it's the same results.
It makes sense that they would then. So this links into another conspiracy theory, which is actually all over Reddit, which is when the person entered top rated seller, so this is US, we don't have that in
Yes.
Australia, they actually receive a reduction in fees in the US when they become a top rated seller.
Yes,
Top
here
rated
too.
plus, sorry.
Yes.
And they found that their sales were worse when they were top rated plus
Ooh.
versus when they weren't, because they were getting a fee reduction. So eBay, they believe, cut their sales to a certain percentage to then be able to recoup the reduction. And I was like, oh, I can kind of get behind that. So it plays into what you're suggesting very well.
I don't think so, because I think eBay would want to do the opposite. I think because eBay is now making less money per sale, they'll want to give you more sales to keep making the same amount of money.
Oh, I've never experienced it. I was super interested by it, though. There's a lot of people that responded to the Reddit forum post and said that they've experienced the same thing. There was people that had actively stopped being top rated plus sellers
Yes.
to then go back down and were like, my sales were better when I went back down.
Because I've seen a lot of people be as well, oh, I went top rated this month and like nothing happened. Where we're led to believe that being top rated plus or top rated, I think we call it top rated pro or something, we're led to believe that that would lead to better placement, because we get the badges and we get everything, and then a lot of people get it and they're like, nothing happened.
Yeah. And
but maybe that's because eBay then, but to be honest with you, the 10% off fees you get, that's 10% on the 10%. Like most of the time, it's like 20p.
Do you get 10% off?
10% off the 10%.
That's great. We don't get anything like that.
Yeah, but you guys get like 1 million free listings for cheap. We don't.
We do, yeah. It's a
Yeah,
quarter
so
of them. Yeah.
So the 10p I get off,
It's fair. Yeah.
like I have to pay, well I don't, because I'm on an anchor store, so I don't pay for listings anymore, but it costs me like 550 quid a month
That's so expensive.
to be on an anchor store.
That's crazy. That's
I know.
honestly. We don't have it. So for anyone listening at home, Australia gets a private store, basic, featured, or anchor, doesn't matter. You get 250,000 free listings per month. So for the average seller, we're never going to burn through those. So the only value in going up into like a business store is just the saving on fees. So you actually have to do the math to work out where that kind of sits for you in your store.
So we don't get that. We have limits on every store except the top one. And the limit on the second one, the second from the top, is only 2,500.
Yeah, wow.
So,
that's not a lot.
In the math, if you do the math, as soon as you reach 7,500 listings, you're better off just paying for the anchor store.
That's so crazy.
I know.
All right. Your turn to line.
Okay, I've got another one. After a £1,000 day, for some reason the store is dead. It's rarely done in a row and always a few days apart. So after a banger day on eBay, you smash it out the park. Nothing. Crickets for a couple of days.
I don't have that.
I don't have that either.
But then it just goes back down to my normal.
But the first couple of times I hit over £1,000 days, I did have that. And let me tell you why I think that is. Okay? I think eBay gives you massive days a few times to see what happens, if you can handle it, to see how your metrics is going to do, how your postage is going to do. Like, they test you out. They're like, because I very quickly started growing in my sales per day. Like, things escalated very quickly. And I think they, like, throw it at you and be like, let's see if they can handle this. Because imagine if they just go throwing £1,000 day. Well, I know £1,000 is for some people not a lot, but like, imagine they just start throwing that out at everyone, and half of the people mess up completely, and they lose all those customers because of bad customer service. And now this person can't get all their posts out, and they get the parcels mixed up, and like, so I actually think in the beginning when you start growing your store, they do throw random big days at you where they push you hard and then taper off a bit to see what's going to happen.
That I agree with. Yeah. I feel like every so often I get just pummeled with like volume.
Yes.
Of like an increased volume. And then it will seem to be one here, maybe one in 2 weeks, one here, one there, and then it will start to just become the normal when I
Yes.
meet and are able to maintain that. It's almost like they go into incremental growth, if you will, and they'll test you there
Yes.
first.
See,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I found. Like they test you out a bit before they make it your norm. And then that becomes your
Yeah.
norm. And now I'm being tested up here randomly. And then that becomes a norm. So that's actually a theory I could get behind.
Yeah, I actually feel like if I was eBay and I was running a platform like that, that is a strategy that I would use to mitigate risk for sure.
Yeah, because it is. It's to make sure that the buyers are protected, aren't they?
Of course, absolutely. All right, I've got four more. Pick a number between 1 and 4. Two of them are very interesting.
Two.
All right, this one I can get behind.
Oh,
So it's a theory on eBay and how they share traffic. So the person that did this post believes that in the past, eBay just randomly, throughout the course of the day, shared traffic amongst all the different sellers so that there could be an even spread of sales. And now that they're forcing traffic towards promoted listings to force everyone onto promoted listings to be able to make more money per sale.
correct.
Yes.
100% agreed. Give that man a badge. Winner,
Yes,
winner, chicken dinner. You've cracked the code.
I absolutely agree with that one.
Unless you're selling something very high in demand at a ridiculously good price,
Or is
it's
super
very,
rare.
yes. So, unless in those extreme cases,
Yeah.
eBay will always push. If me and you have the exact same item, same
Yep.
like the same, and I'm going willing to pay eBay 10% more because I want to promote it, who do you think eBay wants to sell the item?
Not me.
Exactly. So 100%. That 100, I am 100% for that. That's not even a conspiracy theory in my opinion, that's a fact.
That's just fact. I find that one really interesting because the people that don't promote or promote really low may actually find themselves into a spot of hot water as eBay continue to lean more towards that.
It's always those people who start with eBay's dying, isn't it? eBay's a
Oh,
dead
mate.
platform. eBay's dying. I actually, here's one. Here's a hot take. I think eBay in the UK for clothing might
Mm.
actually be dying. I think eBay has lost a massive chunk to a platform called Vinted. In the
Yeah,
UK, I personally only shop on Vinted now for clothing, and I
that's interesting.
100% believe that for clothing in the UK, eBay's lost their stronghold.
I will say, and I will give credit where credit's due to Tom for mentioning this one on the podcast with Tech.
Why?
And I know it hurts me to say this, but he's right in when he says that eBay are very reactionary. They're not very proactive. And the biggest moves in plays
Yes.
that they've made on the platform is when there has been fierce competition. So you may actually find that eBay move in the UK to push and squash Vinted as fast as they can. And therefore, the sales on eBay for clothing become stronger than ever.
I think they're too late.
Oh, that's a big
The
call.
I think you know what there is. Like in every generation, there's a generational shift that happens, right?
Oh,
And
of
you can
course.
go
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
and it
absolutely.
it happens with a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
my generation went from like BlackBerry to iPhone, and like it's a whole generation makes a shift, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just, and you can, it's mostly pinpointed in consumerism where you can actually track buyer behavior, but it
Yeah.
happens in every facet of life. Every generation makes generational shifts in all aspects of life, right? And so
Yeah.
I believe personally that the generational shift of our, well, not I'm older generation, but of this right now, is they are moving, the younger crowd are moving to other platforms for that type of clothing thing. And you can also see the generational shift that happened when um, everyone was on Facebook, and then the younger generation pushed over to Instagram, and now the younger generation pushed over to Snapchat and TikTok. And like generations make platform shifts, they make buyer behavior shifts, they make, and I honestly believe this is a generational shift here in the UK where they just are going on to Vinted. Vinted is amazing. The search function, the prices, the Vinted is amazing. I love Vinted. So much
I
better to buy on.
agree.
The buyer experience is so much better.
So I sell at the markets in town specifically to capture the younger demographic. And one of them asked what I do for a job, and I said I sell on eBay. And they were like, "What's eBay?" These are people like in their early 20s who have
Yes.
no idea what eBay was or
No.
is. And we grew up, because we're around the same age, in the era where you could sell anything that you wanted on eBay. People were selling air guitars and pieces of toast that looked like Jesus and
Yeah.
Mother Teresa and stuff. And it was the Wild Wild West. But that's what people did in their spare
Yeah.
time, was they bid on these, now we would see it as kind of crazy things. But that shaped the course of a generation, as you said. But the younger
Yeah.
generation much prefer that banter back and forth and the more personalized touch to their shopping experience, I find here.
Yes. And so I think eBay's gonna have to focus on the categories they have a stronghold on, which is car parts, which I'm very lucky about. Car parts is the biggest category in eBay UK. But
That's
I do
interesting.
believe we are in the midst of a shopping shift. And I don't think there's much eBay can do.
Mm. I don't know if you're a big fan of like Web3 and how that's kind of playing
I don't know
out
what
with,
that is.
I'm not going to go too much into it, but like the whole crypto NFT, like metaverse.
I don't even know what an NFT is. Someone once tried to explain to me what an NFT is, and I was like, "You're selling nothing, nothing. You're selling like how did we become so brainwashed that we're literally buying nothing at this point?"
Well, no. So there's a specific NFT branch that does very rare trading cards. So you send your card in, they grade it, they hold it in a vault, and you sell the NFT. And anytime that you want to, you can exchange the NFT for your card back, and vice versa. And it just continuously gets sent back and forth. So you can, so you can trade digitally these cards, and the end consumer can then request them from the vault, and then they can have the card, they can
Right.
send it back to then be able to sell it onwards. It's kind of like just a proof of authenticity. But then
Yes.
you never have to run the risk of the mail company losing that product in the
Yes.
mail when you sell that card online now. If you look at that from like the perspective of fraud mitigation for high-end brands and stuff like that, like if I was to have the Louis Vuitton handbag of my dreams, if I had that non-fungible token, which is what NFT stands for that bag, it shows proof of purchase, which would mean we would need no authenticity programs, etc. We have bills on the block. You're just done. I'm going to move on.
No,
Um,
do you know what I'm laughing at? Like, I understand what you're saying, and I think like we're definitely moving in that direction. But the fact that you just sat on a podcast and said if you had the Louis Vuitton bag of your dreams, when I know for a fact you don't dream about Louis Vuitton bags,
oh,
like,
absolutely not. Definitely not.
but I definitely believe we are moving in a completely different like shopping
Yeah,
shift.
totally.
And unfortunately, eBay is an older platform. I do believe the older generations are still buying clothes on eBay. Don't get me wrong. That's why certain brands and things you still get a lot of money for on eBay because older generations don't change platforms.
No.
My grandmother will hold on to Facebook till the
Oh,
day she goes to meet Omega. Like, you will not find her on the Insta or the
no.
Snapchat or the no. Like, so I do, but I believe that will age out.
I agree 100% with that. Yeah. So before we go down any more rabbit holes, I'm going to go on to a new eBay conspiracy rabbit
Oh,
hole.
okay, go.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the one on my other side of the page, which is eBay is conspiracizing. Conspiracizing?
Is that a word?
I don't know. I just wrote out what they wrote verbatim. With postal companies to have slow freight times to force people to purchase priority or express postage labels when purchasing on eBay because eBay gets a kickback from the cost of the postage price.
Hmm.
Yay or
Do I,
nay?
do I think eBay gets a kickback from postage companies? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Do I think they go that far? I don't think it matters to me and my business, so I don't
Fair.
know.
That was a very diplomatic answer. I don't think that, honestly, eBay cares that much. I think they probably make the same amount off both than they did off the other, like if that makes sense in terms of net profit.
I also think that like eBay, I think we often come up with reasons for things that we don't want to take responsibility for or that we can't explain. And then it's easy to
Mm.
just say eBay's this massive mega mind who has like, but for eBay to implement just 5 of these theories that we've spoken about now will literally take years.
Yeah.
Like, I know. And the programming and the coding and the to do this would be massive. So I think sometimes it's easy to say they do this and this and then that happens and that, but like I just don't think eBay's that complicated.
I think part of it is just people handing over that kind of, I guess, responsibility or authority.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of the times when my mail is super late, it's because of some sort of natural disaster or train
Yes.
derailment, which is totally outside of eBay's power. Like, I don't think they're up there throwing bolts of lightning
No.
down. Yeah.
No.
All right. My other really crazy one,
Okay.
which was very inventive, in my humble opinion, was PayPal, who used to be partnered with eBay
Yes.
um, before managed payments, is opening fake eBay accounts, buying items from sellers, and immediately canceling to pocket the fees because eBay have to refund you the total value, whereas PayPal still keep their 1% of the
Does eBay
transaction.
not own PayPal?
I actually don't know that answer to that question. That's a
eBay
very
bought
good point.
PayPal though.
Well, there you go. They get to pocket their own fees. That's probably money laundering right there.
So
If
eBay
that's
bought
true.
PayPal in 2002, but then they had that 10-year deal from what I've been told. Don't take this as fact, but part of the stipulation of buying PayPal was that they weren't allowed to make PayPal redundant on eBay for X amount of years, which is why managed payments took so long to roll out, right?
That makes
And so
complete
as
sense.
soon as that ended, we got managed payment. But I don't see why you would cut off your nose to spite your face. Like, why would PayPal do
That makes no
eBay?
sense. To me. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, you've debunked that one. That's good.
Woohoo.
Um, and my very last one is red door, blue door. Have
Oh, see,
you heard
I
of it?
never even knew this was a thing until I was in the reseller greatness group and the Americans told me about this because I didn't even know the door changes color.
It does. Yep.
When does it change color? What color door do I have?
So in
Oh, I've got
my
a blue door. Is a blue door a good door, or is the blue door
blue
the
door is
bad?
good. No, blue
Oh,
door's
good
the
door.
good door.
Okay.
Red door's the bad door. I think. I don't know. Mine's the time that I checked it was red and that was the bad color. So I was like, oh well, I have no sales.
So does red get you no sales? eBay red
Apparently,
door,
yeah.
blue door.
But
When
most
do the
commonly,
doors change?
exactly. So I've most commonly only ever found that they change color when I'm toggling between screens. So if I'm in like my stores view, it'll be a different color. But I actually think it's because I've clicked on the hyperlink before, so it changes color.
Oh, I love this. I noticed today that the eBay store icon next to my user ID changed from red to blue. I did
It's
some
a thing,
digging and
Hamlet.
asked an eBay spokesperson. They said the change in color was simply a visual design update to the icon.
It's a whole
But
thing.
this person says that it's their sales tanked at the same time.
Yep.
Which, can I just lean into another one with that? Every
Yeah.
time eBay makes a change on the platform, sales go down because there's a change. So maybe
Yeah.
every time, like, maybe when they make a design change on your profile, your traffic does take a bit of a hit. So there might actually be a little bit of truth to this.
So I believe that if they're updating your item specifics, just for an example of an update, and your new items are selling better because they're on this new indexed template, it then waits for your old listings to renew to go into that new template, and maybe those ones don't perform as well as the other ones because they're not on the same template. That's just
Ooh,
my own conspiracy theory.
I like that.
I'm so glad.
I like that. I like that.
Well,
So
it makes sense for me.
I myself experience times where I'll have a very weird slow day, and then the next day I wake up and something's different on eBay. Like
Yeah,
my
same.
app's changed, or there's a new page, or my
Yeah.
promotion page looks different, or like there's a change. So, like with any website, I think as soon as there's changes made to a website, it experiences a bit of downtime on the servers and on Google and on as they do. So I definitely think when eBay plays around, it has an effect. I just don't believe that's the sole reason why someone has bad sales for 6 months in a row.
No, I think that that's just a blip on the radar.
Yes, but I think it's real.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Especially around this time of year because we got the, for us it's the winter seller update. For the US it's the summer. For you guys it's the summer eBay seller updates, and they tell you in there what they're changing. And I found new item specifics pop up on certain subcategories that I list in, and things just don't work. And this is usually the week or two where it is a little bit wonky, and then things come out on the other side. You just have to be patient.
Are we opposites in seasons? So you're
Yes.
oh that got right because you'll be in the same one as South Africa. That's why.
Yeah, but for you guys, like summer's like 22. That is not hot
If
here.
as if I'm gonna take a picture of what it's like outside right now and send it to you. There's an actual rainstorm happening outside my door. It's freezing. Welcome to Scotland. Summer holidays. We haven't been to the beach once this year because, like, when? There's no summer. No summer. Like, summer is one random day in May. That's what you get.
It's
Summer
pretty much
fever.
our winter. Our winter's like a random week, and it's probably this week because it's been -2 each morning this week.
Well, I've had a great time. Yeah, I am unconvinced that eBay as complicated as we want to believe it is. I think a lot of the time it's easier to believe that there's some unknown force working against us than it is to just accept that maybe people aren't buying as much right now, or maybe I'm not listing the best stuff, or maybe I need to change what I'm doing, which
Or
I
go on my
prefer to
price.
lean on because it comes back to the like I want to be in control of it. So
Yeah.
I don't want to believe that eBay just says no and switches me off.
Especially at these times where I think that sales are lower. I think that a lot of it's to do with pricing. And if you're not constantly comping things and you're just like, oh, I sell this brand all the time at this price, it sells for this price, I think you have to keep your finger on the pulse because things are moving and changing really
Yes.
fast as more and more sellers are joining the platform and there's less and less buyers. It's kind of a race to the bottom.
But I also want to close this out and say that eBay has still a lot of potential to have a successful business on. Like
Absolutely.
eBay, I don't think eBay's a dying platform. I think maybe some categories buyer behaviors change, but I think eBay still has a lot left to give. And I also think that even if eBay is on the decline, it's not going to be an overnight apocalypse. You're going to
Oh, no.
watch like over years.
Yeah.
And there's more than enough years for me to get in and get out with my money and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think eBay is a game you have to play, so play the game. eBay is a tool you use. They tell you how to use the tool. You don't buy an iPhone and then try to use it the same way you use Android just because that's what you prefer. The same with eBay. Don't use eBay the way you think it should be or what you're entitled to. Use eBay the way they tell you to use it because it's a tool you have to use. And I think that will solve a lot of the problems.
I agree. And I would love to hear other conspiracy theories. I have my mind blown over the last 24 hours looking up all these conspiracy theories. So if you have some more, please tell me in the comment section.
If there's any other cases you want Piri and O'Neill to investigate, let us know. Conspiracy theories, just general theories. We randomly have cases we go on, and we're so lame that even in our own Instagram chats, we refer to ourselves as Piri and O'Neill. And then, like, one of us will ask a question and be like, Piri and O'Neill is on the case, because that's just the level of excitement we have. Next time I'll bring my tinfoil hat.
I do wish that you didn't tell people that.
Why? It is what it is.
Like, cool we had is just out the window.
What cool? We were never cool.
It's gone now.
How the whole thing started is I suggested we call the podcast Piri and O'Neill, and then everyone we mentioned it to said we sound like detectives. And now I'm just like, one day we have to be detectives.
We could start a true crime channel.
Could. Yes. Piri and O'Neill.
Being detectives.
But I'd much rather like to do conspiracy theories.
Oh, there's so many.
I know, but they're just like the hours you can spend on them. And do you know what I love about conspiracy theories? Is they don't actually need any proof, and anything you find, you just interpret in a way to match what you think.
Absolutely.
And then you just add maybe, if, or could have in front of the sentence, and then that becomes fact. That's what you have to do.
So true.
That's so true. Like, you can say, well, maybe that could have been from there and that happened and this happened. And then in the recap, you're like, and then we found this, which shows that happened and this was like this and this was like that. And it's like, that's not what happened. But I love it. I love it.
It's also the lens in which you view the world through as well.
Yes.
Like, if you have a natural leaning bias, you're going to view it from a certain way.
I know.
Yeah.
It's also whatever suits your narrative. Very much. Like,
absolutely.
If I am feeling like my business is doing bad, my conspiracy theory is going to be that eBay's dying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it suits the narrative of what you're experiencing. Yeah. Anyway.
But we thank you all for watching. Sam is also going to start working on an outro, because Sam was supposed to, from the start, have an outro ready for these things, because I do the intro, my little jingle, and then she still has it.
I wrote the intro for you.
Oh, you didn't write the whole thing. I added my own little twist in there. But yes, she did. She did come up with some of the wording, but I feel like we need to put some pressure on Sam in the next episode to come with the best outro in the history of podcast outros.
Oh, it's on. You know it.
We want the bit. Fireworks, trapeze artists, monkeys.
Oh,
cucumbers.
Cucumbers.
Whale noise. Ooh, whale noises.
You have no idea. This is all I'm going to do for a week.
I really appreciate everyone who sat through our cucumbers and whale noises. I got a lot of messages about it. Like, people were digging it. So maybe we just have to be... We can't be cool. We just have to be weird.
Oh, that's me on a day-to-day basis. That's fine.
Oh, also, update. I actually went and found my high school math teacher. Right? Because I did think that she was no longer with us, but I found her. She's now the deputy head teacher. And I did message her on Facebook. But I was like, look, Miss Earlers, I made it. I don't even know if she's going to remember me, but she hasn't read it, because I think it goes into like your message request, and I'm not sure she's old enough to know where to find that. But she's alive. She's doing really well for herself, still teaching maths. So shout out.
You should send her a photo of yourself with your calculator in your hand that fits in your pocket.
I should have. Or maybe just call her up one day. I really appreciate, she was actually a really good teacher. She lied to me about the calculators, but other than that, she was pretty solid.
You probably didn't know the advancements in technology that were right around the corner.
Yeah, probably. But we should know these things. Anyway, that and for outros, there you go. Second half of the year, what we doing, Sam?
Annoying you to the highest level. I did 90 listings today, Henley.
And somehow I'm still winning at 35 a day. So, like, some work hard and some work smart. And on that bombshell, goodbye.
Bye.